Welcome to the Green-Meldrim House. We're honored to be with you tonight as we mark the 160th anniversary of an historic meeting between 20 black ministers, General William Tecumseh Sherman, and Secretary of War Edwin Stanton. Let's set the scene for that night. Outside it's cold. It's January 12th, 1865. Inside the house, gas lights are illuminating the way to the second floor to the room we find ourselves in now. The room once served as Charles Greene's bedroom, but General Sherman chose this room to serve as his office. Running the meeting was General Sherman, who had just reached Savannah after marching from Atlanta over 400 miles with his 62,000 troops. Following the army were over 15,000 freed people. Also present was Secretary of War Edwin Stanton, who was Sherman's boss. And the meeting is significant as two representatives of the government are asking poor souls what they want and what they need. When General Sherman reached Ebenezer Creek, just 20 miles from Savannah, the Army built a pontoon bridge over the creek, and the Army crossed the creek. One of General Sherman's pulled the pontoon bridge up, and somewhere between 600 and 800 African Americans drowned. Edwin Stanton hears about this incident, and he came down from Washington to meet with General Sherman to find out what happened and what was Sherman's plans to deal with this humanitarian crisis. Hence, the purpose of the meeting. General Sherman assembled 20 preachers in the room and asked them to introduce themselves and elect a spokesperson. Hello, my name is William Campbell, native of Savannah, slave until 1849, then liberated by the will of my mistress, Mrs. May Maxwell. I am pastor of the First Presbyterian Church of Savannah for 10 years. The membership is 1,800. The church property is owned by the congregation, and it's valued at $18,000. The church trustees are white. I'm John Cox, born in Savannah, slave until 1849. I purchased my own freedom for $1,100. I'm a pastor of the Second African Baptist Church. I've been in the ministry for 15 years. The congregation numbers 1,222. Church property is valued at $10,000, owned by the congregation. I'm Ulysses Houston, born in Granville, South Carolina, slave until the Union Army entered Savannah. Owned by Moses Henderson, pastor in Savannah, and I'm the pastor of the Third African Baptist Church. Congregation is 400 people. Church property is owned by the congregation, valued at $5,000. Good evening. My name is William Bentley, born in Savannah and a slave until 25 years of age when emancipated by the will of my master, John Waters. I'm pastor of the Andrews Chapel Methodist Episcopal Church. It's the only one in Savannah. Congregation of 360. Church property is owned by the congregation and valued at $20,000. I've been in the ministry for 20 years, and I'm a member of the Georgia Conference. I'm Charles Bradwell, born in Liberty County, Georgia, slave until 1851, emancipated by my will of my master, Mr. Bradwell. Served Methodist Episcopal congregation in absence of regular ministry. In the ministry for 10 years. I am William Gaines, born in Wills County, Georgia, freed by the Union forces. I was owned by Robert Toombs, formerly United States Senator, and his brother Gabriel Toombs. I've been a local preacher of the Methodist Church, 16 years in the ministry. I'm James Hill, born in Bryan County, Georgia, slave until freed by the Union Army. Owned by H.F. Willings of Savannah, in the ministry for 16 years. I'm Glaskin Taylor, born in Wilkes County, Georgia, slave until freed by the Union forces. Owned by A.P. Witter, local preacher in the Methodist Church, in the ministry for 35 years. I'm Garrison Frazier, born in Granville, North Carolina, slave until 1857 when he purchased my freedom for myself and my wife for $1,000 in gold and silver. I'm an ordained minister in the Baptist Church, not in charge of a congregation. in the ministry for 35 years. My name is James Wills. I was freeborn in Savannah. I'm a licensed preacher in the Baptist Church, 8 years in the ministry. I'm Abraham Burke, born in Bryan County, Georgia, a slave until 1845 when I purchased my freedom for $800, 10 years in the ministry. I'm William Wardell, born in Liberty County, Georgia, slave until freed by the Union Army, owned by A. Solomon, Savannah. I'm a licensed minister for 6 years in the Baptist Church. My name is Alexander Harris, born in Savannah, freeborn. I'm a licensed minister of the Third African Church of Savannah. My name is Andrew Neal, born in Savannah, a slave until the Union Army entered the city. I'm a deacon in the Third African Baptist Church for 10 years. My former master was William Gibbons of Savannah. My name is James Porter, born free in Charleston, South Carolina, a lay preacher and president of the Board of Wardens and Vestry, St. Stephen's Protestant Episcopal Colored Church of Savannah, a communicant for 9 years, congregation of about 200 people. I'm John Johnson, born in Bryan County, Georgia, slave until freed by the Union Army, owned by W. Lincoln of Savannah, a class leader and treasurer of Andrews Chapel for 16 years. My name is Adolphus Delmott, freeborn in Savannah, a licensed minister of the Missionary Baptist Church in Milledgeville, Georgia, congregation of about 300 or 400. I've been in the ministry for 2 years. My name is Jacob Godfrey, born in Marion, South Carolina, freed until freed by the Union Army, owned by James Godfrey, a Methodist minister now in the Confederate Army. I've been a class leader and a steward at Andrews Chapel since 1836. I'm Robert Taylor, born in Wilkes County, Georgia, a slave until freed by the Union Army, owned by Augustus Welter of Savannah. I'm a class leader in the Andrews Chapel for 9 years. I'm James Lynch, freeborn in Baltimore, Maryland, the presiding elder of the ME Church and a missionary to the Department of the South. I've been 7 years in the ministry, and I've lived in the South for 2 years. Edwin Stanton has prepared 12 questions to ask these 20 men, and Garrison Frazier has been elected the spokesperson and will answer the questions. We will share 4 questions and answers with you. Question number 3. State in what manner you think you can take care of yourselves, and how can you best assist the government in maintaining your freedom? And Mr. Frazier responds, the way we can best take care of ourselves is to have our own land and turn it and till it by our own labor. That is, by the labor of our men, women, and children, and old men, and we can soon maintain ourselves and have something to spare. And to assist the government, the young men should enlist in the service of the government and serve in such manners as they may be wanted. The rebels told us that they pulled them out and made batteries of them and sold them to Cuba, but we don't believe that. We want to be placed on land until we are able to buy it and make it our own. 4th question. State in what manner you would rather live, whether scattered among the whites or in colonies by yourselves. And Mr. Frazier responds, I would prefer to live by ourselves, for there is a prejudice against us in the South that will take years to get over. But I do not know that I can answer for my brethren. Mr. Lynch says he thinks they should not be separated, but live together. All the other ministers present, being questioned one by one, answered that they would agree with Brother Frazier. Question 11. State what is your opinion is the best way to enlist colored people for soldiers. Mr. Fraser responds, I think, sir, that all our compulsory operations should be put a stop to. The ministers would talk to them and the young men would enlist. It is my opinion that it would be far better for the state agents to stay at home and the enlistments to be made for the United States under the direction of General Sherman. Question number 12. State what is the feeling of the colored people in regard to General Sherman, and how far do they regard his sentiments and actions as friendly to their rights and interests or otherwise? Mr. Fraser responds, we looked upon General Sherman prior to his arrival as a man in the providence of God, especially set apart to accomplish this work, and we unanimously feel inexpressible gratitude to him, looking upon him as a man that should be honored for his faithful performance of his duty. Some of us called upon him immediately upon his arrival, and it was probably he would not meet the secretary with more courtesy than he met with us. His conduct and deportment towards us characterized him as a friend and as a gentleman. We have confidence in General Sherman and think that what concerns us could not be under better hands. This is our opinion now from the short acquaintance and interest that we have had. Mr. Lynch states that with his limited acquaintance with General Sherman, he is unwilling to express an opinion. All others present declare their agreement with Mr. Fraser about General Sherman. So what happens? What this meeting led to is the development of Field Order 15 that General Sherman and Edwin Stanton jointly wrote, and it was called 40 Acres and a Mule, which basically took all the land from Jacksonville, Florida, north to Charleston, South Carolina, and 30 miles inland, over 440,000 acres, to be given to the freed black refugees. Again, this was called 40 Acres and a Mule. This was intended to solve the humanitarian crisis of over 15,000 freed refugees here in Savannah. In early February 1865, a meeting was held at the Second Baptist Church here in Savannah, led by General Rufus Saxton, who was a general that reported to General Sherman. Mr. Saxton was in charge to share the details for the people on how to claim their 40 acres. And Mr. Saxton stayed in Savannah to administer Field Order 15. Meanwhile, General Sherman on February 1st crosses the Savannah River and leads his 62,000 troops into South Carolina and North Carolina to continue fighting the war. April 9th, 1865, General Lee surrenders to General Grant at Appomattox Courthouse. April 14th, President Lincoln is assassinated in Washington. And April 26th, Confederate General Joe Johnston surrenders to General Sherman at Bennett Place, North Carolina, effectively ending the war. And what happened? After President Lincoln is assassinated, Andrew Johnson, the vice president, is now the new president, and he rescinds Field Order 15 and returns the land to the original white owners. Thank you for coming to the Green-Meldrim House and experiencing the January 12, 1865 historic event.